You are going to watch this video to help you remember how to make verbs say that I do that action. Look at the list of verbs. What do these verbs have in common? You should notice that each of the following verbs ends in either AR, ER, or IR. You probably can remember that this is the form that we learned when we first began learning verbs in Spanish. Do you remember what we did when we first learned these verbs? What was our purpose with them? We used these verbs to say, I like to do the action. For example, I like to run. How would you say that? You should have come up with me gusta correr, and notice that we use the verb exactly as you see it on the left of your screen. I like to watch TV. How would you say that in Spanish? Me gusta mirar la tele. A ti te toca. Now it's your turn. How would you say each of the following in Spanish? I like to draw. Me gusta dibujar. Try this one. I like to talk. Me gusta hablar. So then we transitioned from saying I like to do the action to saying that I actually do the action. Do you remember what we had to do to change these verbs? We talked about you cannot just take the word yo, which means I, and put it in front of the word, such as caminar, to say I walk. That would translate to I too walk, and that doesn't make any sense. Here is the process. Start with the infinitive form of the verb. The infinitive form is the form we just discussed that still ends in the AR, the ER, or the IR. So once you have that form, you're going to take off the AR, the ER, or the IR. Remember these verbs that we showed right here with the asterisk, they don't follow the rules, so we will talk about them at the very end. Once you've taken off the ER, the AR, or the IR, you're going to add O to the end. When the verb ends in an O, that means that I do the action. For example, when we take off the ER and add an O to correr, it would be corro, which would mean I run. Now it's your turn. Listen to the questions and type in the answer. How do you say I run? How do you say I talk? How do you say I write? How do you say I watch? How do you say I spend? How do you say I walk? How do you say I draw? Let's check ourselves. You should have typed in corro for I run, hablo for I talk, I skipped jugar, escribo, I skipped dormir, miro, paso, or you could have written paso el rato, camino, dibujo, and then again skipped the last two. Now we're going to look at these starred verbs. Jugar has an odd E in the middle of it, otherwise it follows the rules. Juego. Notice the pronunciation, juego. Dormir, still you take off the IR and add back the O, but it also has this UE in the middle of the stem. Ir, to say I go, just completely does not follow the rules. It becomes voy. And then to say I do homework, instead of having HACO, which would follow the rules, it's going to be HAGO, which is pronounced hago. Hago la tarea. Now you should move on to your next activity on your paper.